Starlink is lowering thousands of its satellites' orbits to reduce the risk of collisions. Airloom has a new approach to wind power. And minimal phone pioneer Punkt is back with a new privacy-focused model. It's Friday, January 2nd, and here's a quick look at tech in the news this morning from Engadget. Starlink will lower the orbits of roughly 4,400 satellites this year as a safety measure. That's according to engineering VP Michael Nicolls. In a post on social media, Nicolls wrote that the company is beginning a significant reconfiguration of its satellite constellation, in which all satellites orbiting at around 342 miles will be lowered to around 298 miles. The move is intended to reduce the risk of collisions, putting the satellites in a region that is less cluttered and will allow them to deorbit more quickly should an incident occur. Nicolls pointed to the coming solar minimum, which is a period in the sun's 11-ish year cycle when activity is lower, as one of the reasons for the move. The announcement came a few weeks after Starlink said one of its satellites had experienced an anomaly that created some debris and sent it tumbling. Just a few days earlier, Nicolls posted about a close call with a batch of satellites he said were launched from China, seemingly without any attempt to coordinate with operators of existing satellites in space. With his latest announcement, Nicolls added that lowering Starlink's satellites will further improve the safety of the constellation, particularly with difficult-to-control risks such as uncoordinated maneuvers and launches by other satellite operators. One of the many concerns about artificial intelligence these days is how the rush to build data centers is impacting local communities. Data centers can create a drain on resources, and some utility companies have already said customers can expect to see their electricity bills growing as these facilities increase demand. There have been some discussions of what other power sources could support the AI engine, and wind power specialist Airloom is one company that is looking to address the problem. Rather than the very tall towers typically used for this approach, Airloom's structures are 20 to 30 meters high and are made of a loop of adjustable wings that move along a track, a design that's sort of like a roller coaster. As the wings move, they generate power just like the blades on a regular wind turbine do. Airloom claims that its structures require 40% less mass than a traditional one while delivering the same output. It also says the Airloom's towers require 42% fewer parts and 96% fewer unique parts. In combination, the company says its approach is 85% faster to deploy and 47% less expensive than horizontal axis wind turbines. Airloom broke ground on a pilot site back in June for testing out its approach and confirming how those figures work in practice. Airloom will have a booth at the upcoming CES, and while the business is not a consumer-facing field, the impact of Airloom's work could have a future positive impact on people if the data center boom continues. The Swiss minimal phone pioneer Punkt is back with another model, the MC03. The new handset continues Punkt's focus on privacy, security, and digital minimalism. Now, if you've never seen Punkt's MP01 or MP02, the company's gorgeously minimal dumb phone line, they are something to behold. Seriously, the MP01 is quite literally a museum piece in New York's Museum of Modern Art. Meanwhile, this new MC03 is the company's second stab at a more practical touch-screen smartphone, following 2023's MC02. What you lose in physical beauty and tactile buttons, you gain in flexibility. The smartphone runs the privacy and security-focused AFI OS based on the Android open-source project. The fork on the MCO3 appears to borrow a page from the light phone line. Its UI includes a light phone adjacent row of text for the most common shortcuts, like mail, contacts, and calendar. Now, if you buy the MCO3, well, you aren't doing it to get cutting-edge hardware, let's just say that. The phone has an OLED display with a high frame rate, great for showing off that clean black UI. Shipments for the Punkt MCO3 begin this month in the European market, and as with previous models, the MCO3 requires a subscription. Thanks for listening. There's more to these stories and more tech news at Engadgets.com. This episode featured journalism from Cheyenne McDonald, Anna Washenko, and Will Shanklin. And it was voiced and produced from the sound studios of Spoken Layer. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back on Monday with more tech news from Engadget.